Hello and welcome to the It's a Normal podcast. I'm Brian, and yes, we have got Liz with us this week. In this week's show, it's a slightly different format, so that's why I'm doing the introduction. It's a walking podcast. Audio quality is not as good as our usual because we were using our wireless microphones thinking we'll be clever, and what we'll do is we'll drive out to the cafe in the car. You'll hear us speaking as part of the podcast, go to the cafe, have a coffee, and carry on with our podcast. Well, we had a few issues. You'll hear the audio. It's not as clear as normal. I did as best I could without trying to remove too much of the background noise, and that was another issue. There was a lot of background noise and you couldn't hear us at times, so there's a little bit of voice isolation on there. But apart from that, what we wanted to do was to give you guys just an insight to where Liz is at the moment, because she so wanted to do an audio-only podcast, because without the video, it's just more intimate and you can just talk. So I think this is a real important podcast that we've done for you. Liz was not going to publish it at first, but then she listened to it on the beach about 2 days afterwards and she just went, wow, we've got to release that podcast. That's all I think I need to say for now. So sit back and please enjoy what this podcast is about on Liz's journey through grief.
I've got $66.
That's just about a coffee then, isn't it?
€30.
Yeah, I've sent some money over, I know.
So shall we say what we're doing?
Yeah.
That this is a... This is a trial format for our podcast. So, welcome to the It's a Drama podcast. This is a trial format for something that we're trying out today.
Yep.
We're taking you for a coffee with us. We're in Greece.
We're just leaving the apartment now.
We're just leaving the apartment.
It's a sunny day. It's beautiful.
It's gorgeous. And yesterday we were inspired by listening to someone else's podcast. We'll tell you about that later. They went on a walk and they were outside and you can hear all the noise and you can just hear them doing their day-to-day thing, like getting in the car like we're just about to now. God, this car is covered in dust, even though we've parked it. Maybe we shouldn't park the car under a tree.
Well, the idea of parking it under the tree is to keep it cool.
Oh, okay. And so we listened to this podcast and actually it was super relaxing, and also just there was something really comforting about it and familiar, because they were doing normal things. And what do you think?
Yeah, it was, because we've tried that format before where we've done it on the private podcasts, wasn't it? When we had the paywall podcasts as such on Patreon, where we just used to go for a walk, and
we loved it.
We liked it because it's a great way to just talk and get things off your chest, sort of thing.
Yeah.
But what we thought was just going to be something enjoyable ended up becoming not so much a chore, but we haven't done that yet, and we don't really feel like going out now and doing it. Do you know what I mean? That you felt like you were under pressure to deliver a podcast.
Because Patreon, people were paying for it.
Yeah, the first ones that we made about 4 of them before we put the paywall out there, didn't we?
Yeah.
You know? And if you don't know what a paywall is, it just means that someone signs up for $5 a month and gets private in sort of more behind the scenes podcasts, what we used to do, isn't it?
So go on, sorry.
No, and that's what I was trying to say. It was great. Those 4 ones, I really enjoyed making them, but anything after that just didn't feel right.
I know.
And then you had to interact on
also,
the
I didn't
community
like
side
charging
of it.
people for a podcast.
Exactly.
It didn't sit well with me.
No.
And I liked the format, the walking. I don't know if I did, because this is what I was saying to you yesterday, because we're all over the place with this podcast, aren't we? So
that's the whole idea of it, because it's settling into something, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
And figuring out what actually it is you like to do it.
Yeah.
But going back to yesterday, after we'd listened to that one, you realise the beauty of audio only.
I know. And this is what I was going to say is this is why this is an audio only podcast, because there's something about when you take one of your senses away and you can't look at them. For one, your imagination just goes into overdrive, and it's so lovely to have that. That's a gorgeous thing about a podcast.
Well, it leaves it to your imagination.
It does. It
Because,
makes you use your imagination.
Yeah, because we're sitting in a car now and you think, oh, it'd be great to video this and show people what
wouldn't.
the mini traffic jam that we're in.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's trucks coming by and all sorts, but you can obviously, we've got the windows open. We have got the air conditioner on very low, but...
So we're on the island of Naoussa in Paros in Greece, and it's really, really hot. What time is it? 20 past 10 in the morning.
It's 26 degrees. So
And-
double it and add 30 if you want to go to the other money.
Yeah, and the streets are dusty, and that's not to say that this isn't a civilized island, because don't think we're driving along like, you know,
Dusty roads.
dusty old donkey roads, because it's not like that. It's like
Used to
very
be.
civilized. And everyone's on mopeds and there's cars, and every morning me and Brian drive to this little, we're lazy because we could actually walk there.
Yeah, but you know what? It's so busy, that section of road, and there's no footpath.
I know.
And I always feel like we're going to get run over by someone.
And we drive to this coffee shop, which we're going to take you to now, a bakery, and we sit and have a coffee, and over the road there's a bus stop, and you see the travellers with their backpacks waiting for the bus to take them down to the port to catch the ferry back to Athens. And there's also a shop opposite that sells fridges and electrical equipment, and we always watch the workers unpacking all their boxes and go, we have the same conversation. Brian always says, oh, I'm glad I'm not in that trade anymore. And it's just watching life go by, and we always have really nice conversations. And like I say, inspired by the podcast that we listened to yesterday, we thought, do you know what? I'd love to do that. And if we like listening to stuff like that, maybe you would. So this is like a real trial, and we need you. We're asking you, begging you to give us feedback on this. Do you like it? Or do you just prefer us to sit with a camera and, well, we're going to talk about that in a minute, sit on the deck somewhere and talk? Oh, typical, isn't it? There's never normally anyone here. And now it's busy. Should we still go in?
Yeah, because we can just sit in the sun. Just pull the chairs back a little bit and sit in the other corner.
She's got her headphones on, so she's not going to bother about listening to us.
No, but they've moved that table, haven't they?
Pardon?
They've moved that table.
Yeah.
How dare they move a table in our cafe?
This is our table.
It's just like, really?
Moving our furniture.
I'll have to leave the windows open a little bit.
Okay.
What coffee do you want?
Pardon?
What coffee do you want?
What, darling?
What coffee do you want?
A cappuccino, please. I'll go and sit.
Yeah,
over
you
there.
take that and just
I'll just sit
pull
over there, yeah.
Pull it over there.
Okay.
Thanks. Hey, Calimara. Hey, can I get a cappuccino, please? And an Americano black, please. Thanks. Right.
All right.
God knows what's going on out here.
Hey?
What's been going on out here?
Can I sit that side?
No, not today.
Do I just moved it all around?
Probably just had a big party in here, didn't they?
See, now I can look at you and talk.
Yeah.
And this is the good thing. Do you think we'll even use this?
Well, do you know what? You can just put it on It's the Drama. You don't have to put it on YouTube. Because it's, you know?
If that's not fair, because this is what... So let's just talk about the video side of things.
Yeah.
Because this podcast started off years ago with me and Sunny just sitting down talking about mother and son, talking about travel and life, and that's what this podcast started off. And then me and you took it over,
Yeah.
and it was always audio only.
Yeah.
And we're just used to, or I did.
Forgot my sunglasses this morning.
Oh, you haven't, have you?
Yeah.
Do you want to borrow mine?
No, I didn't bring
No.
my cap. No, sorry, I'm
Borrow
fine.
mine, because I'm not I'm not in the sun.
Neither am I.
Well, you are, otherwise you wouldn't
No,
have said it.
but let
go
maybe we
on.
both leave them off.
Pardon?
And then you'll get the eye contact then.
Oh, yeah. Is that what you were thinking? You couldn't see
Yeah.
my eyes? Yeah, I know.
Then I was thinking, oh, we normally wear sunglasses when we're down here.
That's annoying, isn't it? Well, stand it when you forget your sunglasses.
I know.
Anyway, so going back to the podcast, And it was just my favourite thing to do. I was thinking about that this morning when I was doing my writing, my notes, my morning pages. I wrote down. I used to absolutely love it, and I still do, but not to this. Since we've started videoing it, it's changed, and I'm just annoyed, that.
Well, what are you annoyed about when you say that the podcast has changed?
I'm annoyed because I can't force myself to be the same as I would like now. Like, why can't I just put a camera? Why can't we? If a camera was here now, this conversation wouldn't be happening. It wouldn't be the same. It wouldn't have the same calmness. It wouldn't, because, and this is to do with me.
Yeah.
Because I feel as soon as the camera goes on, I have to perform.
Well, I think the reason you've got to open up a little bit more to why you thought that. So, what it was, we did a video podcast in Athens on a rooftop, and it was mainly to give people a video outlet to the trip that I'd done in Norway. So it had a lot of B-roll over that, overlaid about what we were talking about on the actual podcast. But you took it upon yourself to think,
Why the coffee's here?
I was too pushy. Well, you were too pushy,
Let's gone in to get the coffee.
Right. What it is. So
when you go away.
They don't bring the coffee yet.
No.
You can still hear you.
I was going to say, could you hear what I was saying when you went in?
No, because I haven't got headphones in.
Oh,
but
right.
whatever you've said when I've gone in.
I didn't say anything.
You'll hear
I
me
just said
walking into
she's
the
just
cafe.
gone to get the coffee.
Yeah.
Because I felt embarrassed. I didn't know what to say.
But that's the thing. I was going to say I'm coming in to get a coffee, but she wasn't at the coffee machine, so I just took it. I didn't get a chance to say thank you.
Oh, right.
You didn't get a chance to see my brilliant Greek. Ευχαριστώ.
Oh.
Ευχαριστώ πολύ. And they go, παρακαλώ.
Yeah. So we should have probably just said we are at our cafe now. We are sitting on the
terrace
of the bakery. It's got 4 tables and chairs, black plastic 4 tables and chairs, and it's overlooking the sea. To the left, you can see the Aegean, which is just blue, blue, blue. It's flipping gorgeous.
Yeah.
With little white sailboats on it and white houses in the background.
It's a busy road though, isn't it?
Yeah, and then I was going to say, to the right of us is the road, and then over the road is what I told you earlier, is the bus stop and the shop called Experts and I just love it because people drive past and you can just, they've all got their windows open, they're all on their holidays, you can see what they're wearing and you can see what they're doing, and it's just it's brilliant.
At this time of day, it's it's just getting busy because it can be, sometimes you come here at 8 o'clock and the road's not as busy, is it? But then at 10 o'clock, all the little quad bikes, the 4-wheel quad bikes come out with people in the bikinis off to the beach and just wearing next to nothing on the quad bikes.
We've got names for everyone. Like this guy here just pulling away is Old Kev. It's just because he looks like my mum's husband in about 20 years, so we call him Old Kev. And we just have all these little nicknames for people that we see every day, the locals and stuff. Do you want to move to that little table there, Brian?
No, because then you feel like you're in the,
what people can see.
It's this way or a bit further out the way.
Shall I move closer to the bin so we're in the shade a bit?
No, it's all right. We're going to be hot for 5 minutes.
What, darling?
You'll be hot for 5 minutes.
What do you mean?
Well, because these lights will go soon and then we'll move forward.
So you'll be able to hear us with all this noise?
Yeah, you can put some voice isolation on, but you don't want to put too much on because you lose the atmosphere of what it is you're actually doing.
So go on. What were you saying? So we videoed that podcast in Athens about you going to Norway.
Yeah. And so going back to that, and you felt that you weren't letting me talk.
There's nothing new there.
Yeah, but that's been the format of the podcast for quite a long time, isn't it?
Do you know what? This wasn't this. This was. It wasn't that. It was. I just need to. Well, there's so much to say, and I'll just say it quickly. I don't know why I have to say it quickly, but I'll just say, since we've been on this trip, I've just been on this massive inner journey, which, inner healing, inner exploration, inner discovery, since Mum died, it's just been I don't know, something's changed in me. And this trip, I didn't know it at the time. I didn't know that this was what it was about, but this trip is about, or it seems to be about so far, about self-discovery. And I don't know if that's a good thing or bad. I hope it's a good thing, but after what happened yesterday, I'm thinking, is it a good thing? Because are you just being self-critical? Are you being too hard on yourself and all the rest of it after what you told me? So going back to what happened was, we did a video diary on the rooftop of Athens to talk to you about Norway.
Yeah.
First of all, I need to say, and I'm just like giving myself a bit of an easy, like protecting myself here a bit. This is my inner self. Giving me a little bit of, don't be so hard on yourself, because we'd already got together after your Norway trip. Me and you had already talked about what Norway was like. And it had been very tender and very interesting and very... I knew what had gone on in Norway.
Yeah.
You'd already told me. So by the time we came to record the podcast, we'd been in Athens like 3 days.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, now I have to pretend that I don't know about the Norway trip. Not pretend, but I'm going to like...
No, but you're going to interview someone about a trip.
About Norway.
Yeah, so you're going to ask me questions you've already asked me.
Yeah, exactly. So at the time when we did the...
Slow coach.
Pardon?
Slow coach.
Who?
You.
Why?
I didn't get to the chair in time.
Oh, well, we're supposed to move there.
Yeah. I can't see it from where I am.
They're English, aren't they?
Yeah.
You can see this is spot the English a while on. Okay. No, that just proves me wrong, because they're not speaking English.
Well, maybe they're American.
No, I think, anyway, it's German, I think, but I don't know.
Yeah.
So, going back to that podcast, at the time when we were making it, I just thought, it's brilliant. We had Uzo and we were chatting, and, and it seemed fine to me. It was just like our normal laughy, jokey podcast, because like I say, I'd already heard about Norway, and I was just trying to make it fun. I was trying to make it entertaining, what was it like? Did you miss me? Did you have any to-dos with your brother? What was Sunny like? Was it being a pain in the ass? Yeah, I was just trying to make it entertaining.
Yeah.
And at the time when we recorded it, it felt entertaining. It felt fun. I remember coming off that podcast and going, "Oh yeah, that was a good one." And then we're releasing this stuff a month later. We're dripping it out.
Yeah.
Oh no, they are English. I'm so nosy. I'm trying to have a conversation with you and then listen to other people. We're releasing this podcast a month later, and I'm sitting on the beach yesterday. You've worked so hard on this podcast. You've worked for 2 days, putting all your beef footage on, getting all your stuff from Norway, and we released it as an audio. It's going to go on YouTube in 2 days.
Yeah.
We released it as an audio on Monday. So yesterday.
Yeah.
So we go down to the beach yesterday, and we set up the chairs with Sunny and Tess.
Got the motorbikes.
I'm getting really hot. I wonder if we should just move the table. Should we just move over there?
But it looks like it's not in much of the sun. As in, it's just 5 minutes. That's probably further up. I'm going to just pull back a bit.
Yeah.
You're in the back, is in the sun.
I know, I'm getting boiling.
That's probably why they moved the tables and chairs.
She's probably looking at us now and thinking, see?
Yeah. It's not so clever now, are you?
I know, that's why we moved it in the first place.
Are you in the shade now?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, you're
My
getting
back's
hotter
in
and
the
hotter,
shade.
aren't you?
So we go down the beach yesterday, and we follow a couple with a course. Well, we follow Cliff Ravenscraft. He's a guy called Cliff Ravenscraft.
Hey, Cliff.
Hello, Cliff. If you're listening to this, I know you listen. And he was my coach for a year. I joined his mastermind group, and we were following his behind-the-scenes, paid-for podcast. And a couple of months ago, while we were travelling in Paris and everything in Norway, he did an episode where he ended that paid-for podcast.
Yeah.
This behind the wall podcast, and I think the title was something like "I'm not hiding anymore behind a paywall" or something. It wasn't that title, but it was that sort of thing. So I really wanted to listen to it. We both did, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. But we always like to listen to his journal podcast together.
Yeah. So when we're at home in New Zealand, we always go for a walk on a Sunday, and we always listen to Cliff.
Yeah.
And also him and his wife have got a podcast,
Yeah.
which we'll talk about in a minute. So we went down to the beach and I said to Brian, should we listen to Cliff's podcast about him ending his private journal and why he's ended it?
Which has been over years, that podcast. It's kind of sad when it came to an end, but you can see why.
But we were both so intrigued to find out why he'd done this. Anyway, you can find this episode, by the way, by going to the Cliff Ravenscraft show, and it'll be on there, and you can listen to it. We listened to the episode, and it was fantastic. And it was all about how he was no longer prepared to not be his true self for fear of being judged or not being liked or people unfollowing him or not joining his coaching program or... I won't go into details here of Cliff's story because you can find that out yourself, but that was the gist of it. And it really, really resonated with me because at the moment, as me and you have talked about a lot over the last few weeks, that's how I feel. I feel like the only place I can truly be myself is on my newsletter because I'm writing to people who, like when I say truly be myself, or when me and you are doing an audio podcast and I feel safe.
Yeah. Why do you feel safe?
Because it's just me and you, and I know that the people who are invested in an audio podcast, they want to be there. Whereas on YouTube, when we video it, some, not all, some people, they're there for the quick, entertaining, come on, give us a laugh.
So for those of you who don't know, we actually do three types of podcasts on YouTube. As in we do what we call the It's a Drama show, which is normally just about moving to New Zealand, isn't it? And things that happen in New Zealand, just day-to-day experiences of us, wherever we are in the world. Then we do the It's a Drama podcast, which goes the video version of this audio.
Yeah.
And then we do our NZ Ahead stuff on the same channel, which is about interviewing people who live in or have moved to New Zealand or are moving to New Zealand and their journey.
Yeah.
And that's the three different things. And the one that it's kind of confusing for the people, I suppose, because they're used to seeing a show where you're looking at the camera and you're talking at them.
I know.
And then we do an audio podcast, which is us videoing us just talking to ourselves, looking at each other and not at the camera.
Yes, that's right.
Normally with a big microphone and headphones and stuff like that. And that's what I think doesn't sit well with some people because they say, please look at the camera.
I know, they're confused.
Yeah. And you just think, whoever said
no, but you know what?
It's quite clear that it's a different show. Yeah,
but this is our responsibility. Do you know what would be the easiest thing to do, Brian? The easiest thing to do would be to have 3 separate channels or 3. I mean, I try and do it with a playlist, but I don't think. Anyway, going back to the safety thing, the feeling safe.
Yeah.
There's something really, really gorgeous and intimate about doing this.
Yeah.
About knowing there's no one can see us.
Yeah.
I'm looking right in your eyes. I'm not looking at a camera.
Yeah.
I'm looking at you.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the person I trust the most in the world and love the most in the world. So I feel safe. And that's what it is. That's what. This is why I feel. When you say why do you feel safe? That is why. And the newsletter, I feel safe because there's no one on that newsletter that doesn't. That won't be hanging around.
Unsubscribe.
Exactly. They would unsubscribe if they didn't like it. That newsletter is a very, very sacred space for me because it's filled with people who are there because they want to be and just give me a very safe platform. I don't know. I can't explain it.
No, you can explain it. And I agree. It's like when someone unsubscribes from your channel because you've made a piece of content and you just think, great, but our channel's not for you. It was at a time in your life, but it's not anymore.
Yeah.
And so that's what happens, isn't it? And it's quite liberating. Not like, damn, I've done something wrong.
Yeah.
It's just like, well, that's where we are in our journey.
So going back to the story of yesterday, we listened to the Cliff Ravenscraft show.
Yeah.
We hear all about how Cliff is no longer going to be hiding behind a paywall. He's no longer going to be dimming his light for fear of people judging him or unfollowing or all the rest of it.
Or having a detrimental effect on his business.
Having a detrimental effect, that's right. And it resonated so much with me because I just thought, you know, like at the moment, right now, there is a piece of content that I've got. It's that piece that we made in Athens about Paris, and I am dreading.
But why?
Because, Brian, I was completely and utterly myself. And I'm dreading putting it out.
So why on earth would you dread something?
Because I'm dreading being judged.
By who? Some keyboard warrior?
Yeah, no, I don't know. I'm just dreading it. I'm just nervous about it.
But that's when you have to understand about, you know, we're not overly judgmental people. Because I think to be able to judge someone, you've got to be up on a pedestal quite high that you think you're better than them because you could judge someone. You know, it's different if someone can now kill someone, then he's not a great guy. Like, you know, you don't know what happened on the day that happened. I'm not saying that's a good thing or a bad thing, but for someone to just sit there and keep passing judgment on someone all the time, you don't really want to know those people anyway, do you?
I know.
Because it's like they say, please, if you're judging me, please show me your content and how much content you have done to pass that judgment. You know? And it's easier said than done, I know. But that was a great bit of content because I didn't know about your Paris trip until you opened up. You know me, I'm a very closed person. I am. You know I am. I'd only say to people what I want to let them hear. I don't really open up to anyone. I never have been. It's just like, do you know what? It's my life and I'm doing all right. I don't need the feel that I have to, I need to get this off my chest. It's like, why? Why would I want to burden someone else with stuff when it's not even burdening me? Does that make sense?
It does. But you see it as a burden, whereas I see it as help. I think it's because I do. Yeah. I don't see it as a burden. I see it as this might help someone because whenever I put content out, like the content about Paris and the content that Cliff put out yesterday, he might have thought, no, let's not use Cliff because I don't want to keep making him feel like he's. Oh no!
Can we move that one? That's why the tables have been moved because there's a couple of guys on the drill.
It's just the universe trying to tell us something. Like, you really didn't. Yeah, you really shouldn't have come down here to do this.
Yeah, but this is real life, and that's the beautiful thing of this. It was a bit like when we were listening to the podcast yesterday. I know we keep going on about it, but we're getting to the end of the podcast, and they're in a park, and there's a guy in like a public park, and it comes along, and there must be a big ride-on mower, and just obliterates the sound. But that's what's great. I love that. That was my favourite bit because it's just like
real.
You know, yeah, it's real. And you just like get back in the car and like put your window up because it's going to get rid of the sound. It's just like, no, just leave it because it's real. You know, it's like, no, it's gone kind of quiet, but you can hear them in the corner scraping away with their trowels and chisels.
So going back, I'm trying to keep on track here.
Yeah,
just before we jump back to the beach and listening to the podcast, going back to the sharing vulnerable content.
Yeah.
Whereas you see it as being a burden to people.
No, I don't mean it's a burden to people. What I was saying about is like I don't open up the same sometimes because I don't feel the need to open up. It's not like, oh, look at me, I'm perfect. I don't mean that. I understand the side of sharing things with people, which I think would be helpful for them. I'll always do that. But there's certain things that I just think, well, you don't, you know, I didn't. Some stuff I don't hold on to that memory almost.
No, everyone's different though, aren't they?
I know.
Everyone's different, and this is again, different conversation. But we've also talked about starting my own personal podcast where I can just read my newsletters and bloody well just pour my heart out. Because sometimes when we're having conversations like this, I am aware that I'm talking too much or I'm saying too much, and that I don't know. It's at the moment I just feel like I'm in this big messy discovery stuff of like, who shall I be and what am I and what am I here for and what shall I say and like who shall I say it to? And anyway, so that's how I feel at the moment. But going back to the beach, we listen to the podcast. We get super inspired. I got on Voxer, which is a messaging app that I use to message my own mastermind group members, and also Cliff, because that's when I was part of his mastermind, we joined at Voxer. So I went on Voxer and I left him a message and I said, I'm so grateful for this podcast because you've inspired me to be brave and, put out content that makes me feel uncomfortable and makes me be fear of being judged. Yeah. And I left him this private message. And he left me another message back. He was out with his wife, Stephanie, at the time, doing a walk. Anyway, after that conversation, me and Brian then decide, don't we, to listen to Stephanie and Cliff. That's him and his wife. They've got a separate podcast where they are going for a walk through the park and just talking about nothing, basically. They're talking about life, like going to the gym and what it was like and why they don't like going, everything that's going on around them. And it was an hour and 10 minutes long, that podcast. Mm-hmm. And me and you listened to it together via our...
Yeah, we were on the beach and I had my AirPods, you had your AirPods. And, if you've got an iPhone, you just open up the other person's AirPods and just say share audio for however long it is,
Yeah.
And
it's brilliant, wasn't it?
And then you can just keep looking over. You were like two... like the sunny was in the middle of us, wasn't it? We read his book and we just kept looking over each other.
Yeah. So this podcast was about them walking through a park in America and they were chatting and it was super chilled and super relaxing.
And he wasn't going to put it out neither.
He wasn't, because he thought, is it helpful to people?
Yeah.
And it was just soothing. It was comforting and real. And I loved the format. I loved the fact that I couldn't see them and I was imagining it, that I had it in my mind.
Yeah.
So we finished that podcast and then we have this conversation. We go in the sea and I love that podcast stuff. I liked how you could hear the noise and I liked how they were super chilled and all the pauses. I liked that.
Yeah.
And it was great audio. And we had this conversation that couples have after they listen to a podcast together. And so now I'm feeling like, not only am I feeling inspired to be myself, I'm now thinking, me and Brian could do something like that. We could sit in a cafe and have the noise of the traffic around us. Then I made the mistake of saying, right, what should we listen to next? I know, why don't we listen to our latest podcast that we recorded in Athens about Norway?
Yeah.
So this is a video podcast, like I say, that was recorded on the rooftop in Athens, all about Brian's trip to Norway. And I started listening to it, and I don't know whether it was, it would have helped that I just listened to Stephanie and Cliff's, and theirs was super, super slow and super laid back and really respectful of each other and,
Yeah.
I listened to it straight after that. Well, as soon as my voice came on, and you started talking and I'm talking over you and I'm talking really fast and I'm trying to be funny, and I don't mind telling you, I just fucking wanted to smash the phone in and go, I hate that woman. It was just like, stop it, Liz.
Yeah, but again...
No, I'm telling the truth, Brian. I know you're going to try and make me feel better, but I'm telling you the truth. It was just... I just felt like, shut up. And just shut up. And stop trying to be funny. And stop trying to get the cheap laughs. And stop trying to... I don't know. I just burst out crying.
Yeah, we did. We went for a swim and you just swam off.
I did, because I didn't like what I heard.
Yeah, but that's the thing, isn't it? You've just listened to one solo podcast, which is very laid back and, even some songs in it and stuff which is just very sort of therapeutic feel to it. And then you've just listened to another podcast of people walking just really, and it was talking slow, and a different type of energy completely. I'm not saying it's the wrong energy, it's just a completely different type of energy to what your podcast was about, because again, it's like I was saying to you, yes, you can do a podcast. Yes, we went to here and I went to there and then went to there. And I understand the format you were trying to go down, because it was trying to make it a bit more lighthearted. At the end of the day, it was a trip with a brother to a road trip. End of story. You could just go like that. But I think you give yourself such a hard time, and your brain has now just gone from listening to someone else going, oh yeah, I'd like to do that, and then listening to something you've just done and go, oh, it's not even the same, it's not even the same vein of energy, whereas if you were listening to something else and then went back to that podcast, you'd like to think, oh,
I know, I did think that. I thought if I'd have just listened to Scummy Mummies before, so Scummy
a funny
Mummies,
one, or Shagged, Married and whatever it's called.
But you know what, Bri? I think if it had been a podcast about our first week in Greece and what the kids have been doing, at the moment, well, I won't go into it, but just at the moment, it's challenging. The four of us is challenging. The four of us being together, it's wonderful.
It's in close proximity in an apartment.
So if it had been a podcast about that, there would have been a time and a place to be funny. But what annoyed me yesterday, listening to that podcast about Norway, is this was the one time. This is what I'm telling myself in my brain. This is the one time that you get to talk about Norway, and all you can hear is me going, no. Did you miss me? Did you miss me? What do you think? I don't know. It's just like, oh.
I know, but I think that was just.
And I know why I was doing it.
Yeah.
Because the camera was on and I was trying to be funny and I was trying to be entertaining.
Trying to get a reaction out of it.
Yeah, trying to get a reaction. And it was it's quite obvious when you listen to that podcast, not watch it, but when you take away the ability to see and you can only listen, you tune in 200% more with your ears. Yeah. And all I can hear is a man trying to talk about his brothers, about his trip to Norway, and an annoying person, wife, trying to butt in and make cheap laughs. And that's all I could hear. And it was it's hard for me to say that, but I'm telling you.
No, I know.
I don't want to say that because I don't want to come across as being the person that doesn't like themselves, because I love myself, but I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed. I'm confused.
You're allowed to be disappointed, aren't you? Not everything. You can't do everything perfectly. It would be a bit boring, wouldn't it, life, if it was all perfect and boring? And there's another good podcast. I didn't feel like that at the time when you were doing it. I didn't
at the time.
And it was just. I didn't. But that's because, again, the video's on. It's a different persona. It's not the real me and you. It's just me and you trying to entertain. And I think that's the difference, and that's what I think is confusing for you sometimes. It's just when you're talking, you don't talk fast. You talk a lot slower. But as soon as that camera goes on, a different person is sitting next to me, and I know it is.
It's because I'm nervous a lot. Yeah, when I heard that last night, I even say it at the beginning of the video. I say, "Oh, I'm nervous."
Yeah, because you haven't podcast for 5 weeks or 6 weeks or whatever it is, and you've done a lot since then. And then all of a sudden, you're putting that hat back on to go in. Here we are in front of the camera again. And so yes, there's always going to be, it's nervous in a different way. It's not, you're not there shaking and stuff. You're just thinking, oh, I need to keep talking to keep the silent and to keep it going. And
you know what it is? It's just nervous of not being entertaining, not being funny,
someone's going to turn off because it's not. You're not keeping them engaged.
Yes, exactly. And I was thinking about that this morning, and I just thought, if my mum was still alive now, and I'd played her that podcast, she'd have said, "Oh, it was hilarious. It was funny." But even that I'm questioning. Because...
Yeah, but you can't question it because she would. Because that was your mum's humour, was to always feel like she had... Humour? Well, to a degree it rubs off on you, doesn't it?
But I'm not like that in real life. No, when you're talking, I don't keep interrupting you and going, I do.
Well, everybody interrupts each other. The thing is, there's a time when you want a discussion, and that's when you butt into each other, like, you know. And then there's a time when you just want to be heard, and it's like, please let me finish, because don't finish my sentence for me, or don't imagine I'm going to say that next. But your mum was a bugger for that. You could never talk to your mum sometimes, because she would just butt in. It's like when I did this, it's like when I did that. But so you would vie to keep someone's attention, to stop them butting in, like, you know. But no one butts in on the podcast as such. I try to let you finish. I try to let this, but there's times when, even now when I'm talking, it's like, no, don't give yourself a hard time over that, because of this, that, and that, because that's protected.
Yeah.
But I think the big problem that you have is you make a piece of content, or you're about to do a piece of content, and you'll hear it from me. I'll just go, let's just talk. And you go, yeah, but what's someone going to get out of it? Where's the call to action? Where's the this? Where's the that? And it's like, yeah, but you just want to talk. But you don't allow yourself to talk because you think that someone needs to get on to the next thing, or this is going to be boring for them, or that's going to be not great. Yeah. And I think that's why you want the audio, because if you're driving somewhere, or you're sitting on the beach doing nothing, or even cleaning up the house, and you've got your headphones in, and you see a podcast that's an hour and a half, great. If you see a 17-minute video podcast, you're going to be like, that's not enough. So you search for something that's more. You look at the big podcasters like Diary of a CEO and Lewis Howes, and they're all doing 2.5 hour content. And you're like, why is it so long? Because that's what people want these days.
Do you know, I was thinking, like, and I know this is an excuse, and maybe this isn't the answer, but this is what I was thinking, is if you had, because when you do a podcast, like for our podcast, we will get a few hundred listens downloads on audio, and
that you know of.
Yeah, well,
but I mean, the analytics on the podcast seem to be shit, and then all of a sudden you look at the charts, and like in the New Zealand charts, you're number 36 on one podcast, and our other podcast is number 30. But you just think the analytics don't match up. But where are they getting the analytics from? Because it can't be 100 downloads. And you just think, it drives you insane, doesn't it? Like,
But yeah, the audio podcast is like I say, in the hundreds, and the video podcast on YouTube is in the thousands. Like a couple of thousand. Sometimes we get like 5,000-6,000. What's it called? Watches.
They're called views, but how long is the view, isn't it? And the average view duration is. Oh well. Plumber's putting a pipe in.
Should we go in the car and go somewhere? Or do you think you can?
Well, you can't really listen to that, can you? But work must be done. You can't hear us talk now. All the days.
Do you know what though? Again, like when we were listening to Stephanie and Cliff yesterday, and their lawnmower started, I liked it.
I know.
It was like,
yeah, but that's a lawnmower is just a constant buzz, isn't it? Like, whereas that is, it goes right through your ears.
So where should we go now?
I'm just trying to look what's the best way to go. Probably go down the road.
We could just go to the taverna and get a drink, just order some water or something, and just sit. Mind you, they always have really loud music on, don't they? Now
it's just
all the music's coming on in the car.
You have some Apple CarPlays that will start just playing the first track in your library, and I can never remember how to turn that off because it's just so annoying. And this particular car just starts with it every time, like, Yeah, I must admit, I don't really like Toyotas anymore.
Don't you?
No. I don't know, I know it's a sweeping statement, but driving 2 Toyotas in the last 6 weeks, yeah, too safety conscious, really are.
Our old RAV4 was good though.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That was the days of real cars. Just nowadays, everything's gone boring.
So where are we going now then? We're driving along the coast.
We're driving along the coast, yeah.
And the sea just looks gorgeous. The wind has really dropped today, isn't it?
Did you hear the beep? That just meant we just changed speeding.
It just what?
It means that we can do 90k now.
Why don't we go sit on that little bench there under the tree and overlook the sea? Just to finish off the podcast.
Yeah, all right.
Should we do that?
Yeah.
Is this in the shade?
I don't know whether it's in the shade or not.
It looks like it is. They've just beat us to it. Oh,
everyone.
what is going on today?
I don't know.
Oh no, go on. They're not going to
It's
sit
in the
there.
sun.
No, it's not. It's in the shade.
All right.
They're just taking a photo. Yeah, they're just taking a photo. Two girls on a quad bike have just pulled up right next to the bench, but they're just taking a photo. So we're going to go and sit on the bench. Ready?
Yep.
Oh, bless. Right
Eh?
in the shade as well, nice and cool.
Yeah. That's where we should just come down, and you're going to hear a lot of what's the name now, aren't you?
What?
Let me just get my bag just in case.
No, because all you can hear is the lapping of the waves. We are literally 2 feet away from the sea at our feet.
Yeah.
See, now this is when I do think, oh, we should get a video.
I know, but that's the thing, isn't it? But then you've just got to imagine.
That's what I was just going to say anyway before we moved. If we had a setup like Diary of a CEO where you had 4 cameras and you didn't have to look at the camera, but people could still see you, and you would get used to it eventually because it's like you wouldn't even know the cameras were there.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's true or not.
No, you wouldn't, because the cameras are just set in a place. Yes, you're always going to see that the camera's there.
Oh, do you know what we should do? We should just do like this as an extra. Is it hard to put all this together, to edit, to do all? Would it take you a long time to put this together?
How do you mean?
Because I was just going to say, we should do this as an extra, just as a therapeutic one for our audio listeners.
Yeah.
We could still stick it on YouTube and just say, oh, it's an audio podcast.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
What do you think? And not do the video podcast.
Oh, it's a hard one. It's a completely different, Well, I think you want to grow your podcast then you should involve a video, because you can put one on Spotify, but we've stopped doing that because it's just, what's the point? But that's because you're not in for the long term with it, because we were hosting on Spotify at one time, but they just keep striking for stupid things, and they just take your pod. They don't give you an option. It's just like, we've taken this one down.
I know.
And it's like, there's nothing in there that would contravene, I don't know what they call copyright. And you just say,
Something vibrating. Can you feel something vibrating? I thought, I didn't know.
It's probably just me moving my foot like that.
Oh, right. If I didn't know if the little box that we've got in our pocket for the microphones was vibrating or not.
Unless it's just when the cars go by.
Yeah, maybe it is.
So anyway, this, to bring it back round to what we're talking about is, you don't like doing a video podcast, and you give yourself a hard time from listening to your last podcast. So
What did you just say?
You're giving yourself a hard time from the last podcast you made, or the one you listened to, and you've done 2 more since then. You've done one about the Paris trip and one about your first few weeks in the island of Paros in Greece.
You know what? I don't know if you feel the same as this, but I just feel I can't remember. I can't remember what I've done or said. At the moment, I just feel like I'm in this. I don't know, not mush, but I feel like there's so much going on in my head at the moment that I find it hard to remember I'm trying my hardest to be present. I'm really, 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 really trying hard to be present. But like when you say to me about the Paris thing, I only recorded that last month and I can't remember. All I remember is I cried. I do remember that. And I remember swearing and saying, I'm just going to fucking be who I want to be, because I remember that. And that's what I'm nervous about, because I'm thinking, shit, where did that courage come from? Why did you say that on camera? And that's all I remember. I don't remember what we talked about. I don't even know if I told you about Paris or if I just told you about this whole... I don't, Brian. Honestly,
Right.
I don't.
Well, you did. But...
Why do you think that is? Why do you think
it's not hard.
What?
Because you're not in a routine. You're not in any routine whatsoever. And that's the whole idea of doing this trip, is to pull you out of the routine that you were in, which was just work, 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 work. And you become very focused on work and work and work and work. And that's the whole idea, is to break that rhythm of what it is that you're doing. And this is the transformation that happens when you take a break. Because you let go all of a sudden, and you're not holding on tight to those things and all the other things that you're holding on so tight for. And that's the whole idea. And that's why you've got to embrace it and not go, oh, well, I can't remember. And it's like, because I'm not present. You've got to remember the book. If someone was present all the time, this is from a monk, I would not be able to look at him in the face, because he would be a superhuman being. And because it's not, no one can be in the present moment all the time. And if you are, you're lying. I don't care who you are. But do you know what? Yes, we can all be present as and when we want to be. Like you're present right now doing this podcast. You're remembering what you've talked about in the last 30, 40 minutes. Some people can't even do that.
Yeah, but going back to that podcast feeling, again, doing this audio podcast, you can feel it, can't you? You can feel the energy is different than if a video was on.
Yeah, because you were actually talking to each other.
Yeah, because we're relaxed.
Yeah, and it might never even go out. Like as everything might not even go out. But
Why
I think,
are you worried about that noise at the cafe?
I don't care, no, because that's it's atmospheric.
Yeah.
You know? And if someone wants to listen to it, just turn it down, or, you know?
You know what I thought yesterday, and I've been thinking this, we've been away 2 months now, and for the last 6 weeks, I have been on such a weird, like I said earlier, exploratory, whatever that word is.
Exploratory was the first.
Exploring, yeah, just deep diving, questioning, assessing, all this inner work that I never have time to do normally.
Mm-hmm.
I have like 45 minutes in the morning when I do my morning pages, and I have 45 minutes when I go for my walk down the beach, and then after that it's bang straight into it. Get on with your work. You know, when I was in the sea yesterday and I was crying, and I said to you, that's why it's better not listening. And that's yeah, but I did.
Yeah.
And I just thought afterwards, when I thought about it, I thought, is that what was going on? Is that why you keep yourself busy, because you're too afraid to look inside, to lift the lid and go, oh, actually, I don't like the way she's being. I don't like the way I'm coming across. I don't like being like that. I don't know. It's just, this just feels so confusing to me. But not in I'm confused. I just mean, it's scary. It's scary because I'm seeing things and I'm showing myself things that I've never really wanted to. Oh no, we won't open that lid. I don't know.
I know, but I think you're explaining it fine. The other side of it is you have to just let it be sometimes. You know? You just let it be. If you're confused, then be confused for a little bit. There's no harm in being confused, but you're not confused all day, are you? When you know what you're having for dinner, or you know what you're doing for that, you're not confused when you're doing that, or you know where you want to go, you wanted to do a podcast today, but you weren't confused about doing that. But it's just a feeling that you're feeling confused at the moment, so just let it be. And if you're still confused tomorrow, or if you're still confused next week, then think, why am I so confused?
No,
it's a great...
maybe confused is the wrong word.
No, but I think it's uncertainty of who or what.
It's just that questioning of, who are you?
Who's questioning you then?
Me. I'm questioning myself, because going back to losing my mum, if this had happened, the video, the podcast on the roof in Athens, the argument with Tessa last night, any of it, the thing with my sister, if any of that had happened, I would pick up the phone and I'd say to my mum, this has happened, and she would say, oh, Lizzie, don't be so silly. everyone loves listening to you and Brian bicker. They love the banter. That's why you've got the people that you follow in. That's just husband and wife. Oh, Lizzie, don't be silly. She's 21 years old. She won't even be worrying about that. You're worrying about the wrong thing. She just needs to find someone and go travelling. And it's that reassurance. It was almost like on my shoulder constantly going, "Is it okay, Mum? Is it okay? Yeah, it's okay, Lizzie." Now, I haven't got that. I haven't got it at all. And I don't know where to find it. So I'm looking inside because I don't want to keep burdening you. I either write to my newsletter people or I'm looking inside. And when I look inside, I don't know the answers. And that's confusing.
So listening to that, and I know this might sound hard, but why do you need constant reassurance? Who's told you that you need constant reassurance?
Because I think I've always had it.
But is that a good thing? Is that healthy?
No, I don't think it is.
So
no,
you don't.
It isn't.
Do you feel that you need to move away from that constant reassurance?
Yes, I do. And this is going back to what I was saying about listening to Cliff's podcast. It's like, who are you afraid of upsetting? What do you need? Do you need someone to keep saying to you, "You're doing a good job. We really love you. We really like you. We think you're funny"? No. No, I know I don't need that because I can tell myself what I need to hear.
Yeah. But
I don't know where to find it.
But why do you need to find it? That's what I'm trying to ask you.
Because I feel lost without it. I just feel like lost and confused and unsure and unsafe. Just unsafe. Just that. I don't know. I just feel like that out there in the sea, just bobbing around. It's just like there's no anchor. There's no. I don't know, Brian. I don't know. I know I keep saying I don't know. It's because I don't, and that's why I feel confused. But I don't know.
But is that just the grieving process of the loss of your mum? That is, the security blanket is not there anymore. Is that what you feel it is?
I think it's the loss of my mum and the loss of the person that I was when I was around my mum. It's and I'm not saying I've changed. No, I'm a different person. I don't mean that.
Yeah.
I just mean. Like that yesterday, listening to that podcast with me and you talking about Norway.
Yeah.
Mum would have said, "It's funny. It's banter. It's funny. Stop worrying about it." And I would have thought, "Yeah, she's right. It is funny. Yes.
Yep.
Goodbye. Send. Press. Forget." She's not there to say it's funny. I'm listening to it thinking it's not funny. You sound like a fucking nag who's just annoying your husband. And it's not funny. And so I'm like, well, Now, do you know what a voice in my head is saying? It's like a voice is saying, "Stop talking now because this is not a problem that needs to be discussed. People don't care about this."
Yeah.
But anyway, it's just...
No, it's not. I think you can just brush it aside like that and say that. But I think... all the time I'm thinking is like, so you feel that you had your mum to talk about things that you needed some reassurance on, that, and I know you've got me as well. But you'll just think, oh, you're just trying to protect me. But who did your mum have?
My mum didn't have anyone, but you know what, Bryce? She wasn't happy. She wasn't. Oh, I don't know. I don't want to say she's not happy. She wasn't happy. She was happy, but she wasn't her true self. She didn't. Again, I don't want to discuss this. I don't think I want to discuss this yet. I'm not ready.
No, I don't think you are ready.
I'm not ready. I'm still trying to just figure this out, Yeah. It's just, I don't know. And I'm saying things that I don't want to regret saying, or I'm really just saying what's in my mind at the moment. And
Yeah, but it'll come.
I
But
just feel like I've had this massive loss of identity. Like
in what way?
I don't know. That I've just tried to explain it to you. When you say in what way, I have just tried to explain it to you.
Yeah, I know. But you say a loss of reassurance. That's not identity, though, is it? Like, you know, when you know who you are.
How I want to be. You know, I read books and listen to podcasts about like people who are pouring their heart and soul out and being so authentic and real, and that resonates with me. I don't listen to. That's what I'm drawn to. At the moment, and I think I always have been, but I've always been scared to go there too deeply, especially in public. About just opening up and telling people how it feels, how it really, really feels, and not sugarcoating it and not going, oh yeah, but it'll be fine, because I know what I like to listen to and what I like to read and what I like to, you know, consume is people who are going through stuff that they're passing on what they're learning in a really generous, not wanting anything back for it kind of way. And that's what I'm drawn to, and that's what I want to be. And being funny and trying to be quick and try to be interrupt and try to be all the things that I was being on that podcast doesn't align with who I want to be. And that's where, again, I'm confused, because it's like, yeah, but that's who you are, Liz. That's who you are. You always banter with Brian. And maybe this is just a phase. Maybe it's just a day, a week, a month, 2 months. I don't know. Maybe it's just a phase, Brian. And maybe I will go back to the UK or go back to New Zealand and think, what the hell was I on about? God almighty, what are you talking about? When I listen to this.
That's a journey, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. It is a journey. It's wonderful to be able to share a journey.
Yeah.
And I'm always so grateful to people who share journeys. You know, going back to Cliff, we've been listening to him for years.
Yes.
We've been subscribed to his audio journal for years, or, you know, 3, 4 years, 5 years, whatever it is, 4 years. And one of the episodes on his audio journal is where he talks about light language. And it's a really, really, really vulnerable episode.
Yeah.
And I remember listening to that and thinking, oh my God, how brave is this to be able to put this out, to show yourself so bare and show you. But I loved it. Bri. Yeah. And I just think that's how I want people to feel about our content.
Yeah.
I don't want to just be the little, oh, you're going to have a laugh, wait till you listen to this one, this will make you laugh.
I know, but
I want to go deeper than that, you know.
I understand I can see what you're saying. And I don't think you should give yourself a bad time because of the style of podcasts that you do. All the things you've mentioned of all the style of podcasts are about people who are rediscovering themselves and telling you their experience, and hopefully this will help you. But I don't listen to that same stuff that you listen to. So it's like me turning around to you and saying, oh, the podcast that we do, Liz, I think we should talk more about longevity, football matches, and I'm just trying to say a few content things that it's completely different. You know, I want to start interviewing CEOs of companies and stuff, like, you know. It's just like, hang on a minute. That's not really what we're talking about, is it?
So aren't you allowed to change?
Yes, you can change, but you can start another podcast, you can do a different podcast, or you can go, right, the format of the podcast is going to change. And you're going to start interviewing people who are going to give you that thing. Because you're a great person at interviewing people.
I don't want to interview people.
But I'm just saying, you're a very good person to interview, and you listen to people's stories. And in your mastermind group, you listen to people. That's all you do in the mastermind, is listen to them, and a bit of whatever you do with them to try and move them forward. And you're a very good coach when it comes to things like that. So you can see what I'm trying to get around to is you're giving yourself a hard time over something. that doesn't really exist. Because it's just, that's what that particular podcast is. I know you want to start a podcast where the idea, the format is to read your newsletters out and discuss it maybe of why you wrote that newsletter. I don't really know, but I think that's part and parcel of the side of it. That's what I think you really do need to do. Listening to what...
I wouldn't need to do that if we did podcasts like this every week.
Well, this is what I said to you, is like, let's bin the YouTube audience because they're not the same as this audience.
Oh, I know, but there's people listening now on YouTube. I know there will be.
If this goes out on YouTube.
Yeah, the audio.
Yeah.
They'll be like, oh no, don't bin YouTube. This is where we consume your content.
It doesn't have a big enough reach because it has I don't know if it has a detrimental effect on a video platform where it's just an audio
Well, I'll tell you what we could do then. We could just do like a community post on YouTube.
Saying
and just say, we've released an audio podcast and here it is. Like maybe do that.
But I don't think you can link to an external link on YouTube unless we start a separate channel, which is just the It's a Drama audio podcast only channel.
Should we just do that then?
Yeah. And then you've got no one's going to turn around and go, where's the video? And you can just talk about what you want to talk about. This is what always, even when you were doing your mastermind with Cliff, he said, Liz, you are the person that people tune into. And you can say, oh, and Brian too, but, it basically...
See, I don't agree with that.
Why?
Because you're the person.
No, well, I'm just saying, you want to know what it is you want to do. You were wanting to do a behind-the-scenes podcast all the time. And it's like, don't call it behind the scenes. It's just the It's a Drama podcast. I know the name was started 9 years ago, and it's evolved. Yes, you can change the name of the podcast if you really wanted to, But I don't know. It kind of just fits still. It's nothing to do with drama.
Yeah.
And people think, oh, it's going to be about the stage or it's going to be about that. And realistically, yes, maybe it should be. Because the name is completely wrong. But it's completely right too.
Well, maybe that's what we should do then. Is just put this on a different channel on YouTube.
Yeah.
What would we call it though? It's a Drama 2?
The audio only.
I don't know. Like you just call it the It's a Drama podcast, I suppose.
Yeah.
And then leave the other one as It's a Drama show. Like where we talk about New Zealand and all the rest of it. And is that right?
Either that, or you should just change the name of that one and have it as. I just think because it's so hard to build a YouTube channel these days, and you've built an audience, and it's a wide variety of people, and half the subscribers just want to listen to that, a third of the subscribers want to listen to that, and the other third want to listen to that, even though that's more than a whole, but you know what I'm trying to say.
Do you know what, maybe Tess was right the other day. She said to us, didn't she, we were trying to find a place to do our video recording for our podcast, and she said, why are you recording your podcast? And we said,
as in video
recording it, and we said, because people like to watch podcasts, and she's like, who would want to watch a podcast?
Well, that's coming from someone who never listens to podcasts.
Yeah, but neither do I. I wouldn't dream of watching a podcast.
Yeah.
The whole idea of a podcast is to listen. That's what it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's like, to me, maybe that's why it's so hard for me to do, because why do you need to see us? Just listen and... just listen, because that's the beauty of a podcast.
Yeah.
And going back to Stephanie and Cliff's podcast yesterday, I thought to myself this morning, if there had been a video version of that, and you could have seen their neighbourhood and the trees and the squirrels and all the things they were
looked shocking, wouldn't it?
Would you go and watch it?
It depends. When I'm doing my workout, the first 20 minutes of my workout is just normally just a cardio style warm up, and that's when I tend to want to watch something, because it helps me, just go into a different world.
Yeah.
I
maybe would have gone and watched it to just.
Well, yeah, but would you? Yeah,
maybe out of curiosity, let me just see the neighbourhood they're talking about. Where his mum and dad have moved to? I'd like to see that.
Do you know how much
I
work is involved in that? You know, because you think, I need a front-facing camera, a rear-facing camera, and then I've got to edit it together, and it's just like, you like to where it's gone, because that never gets published. I
just think life is too short to do things that you don't want to do, and doing this with you this morning has been a bloody breath of fresh air. Have you enjoyed it?
Yes, I have, because I live with you, and I don't like it when you're not too happy or you're confused, or I can see it in you. And that's what I said to her this morning. You said, shall I go and do my writing? And I said, I thought you wanted to talk. And then you turn around and go, should we do a podcast then? I'm like, for fuck's sake. Why the frig do we need to do a podcast? But hey, you're right. It's probably the best thing.
Always right, Brian. Don't ever forget that.
No. Yeah. Right in your own little world.
Whatever I say, my world goes.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Do you know what? When that ferry's out there, the one that you can hear, you're not going to be able to hear it really in the background, but it's a big jet ferry, and those things do 50 mile an hour on the water. They're so fast, and they're huge. And you can almost feel the vibration from it from here, can't you?
Is that the vibration I could feel?
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
Do you think?
I mean, that's like a mile or so, 2 miles out, I would say at least. Anyway, just for people, there's an entrance to the bay that we're looking over, and you see the ferries go past that are heading to the next islands. And the ferries in Greece are the fastest ferries I've ever been on in the world. Yeah, you wouldn't think that, would you?
Right, I want you to do me a favour, people who are listening to this. I want you to do us a favour. I want you to please, I know it's hard to do, but please let us know your thoughts on this podcast.
If Liz is a nagging old cow on the podcast. But you know what? Yeah, please let us know on that train. But I just wanted to say the one thing that you always say, and I have to reiterate, I know we did sort of touch on it before, but it's like, what will someone get out of the podcast? What does someone get out of this that we've just talked to? You know, whether you've just listened to a snippet of someone's life, or it's just them talking about a subject that might not be even relevant to anything in your life. Do you know what? If you've listened to it and you've just thought, I want to listen to another one, then that has worked, hasn't it? And you don't, as in life, you don't have to get something out of everything that you do. Do you know what? Sometimes you just have to do things, or you want to listen to something. I don't listen to every show on every podcast, and I don't come away from thinking, wow, that was brilliant. I just think, it's all right. Didn't agree with that, but do you know what? You still tune in for next week's. And you've got to get over that thing of it's always got to be good. Because sometimes the ones that you don't think are good are the best. And people will come back and talk about those ones. We've released umpteen stuff on YouTube thinking this is going to be great. Bunk, 3,000 views. You do one that you're just sitting on the couch. I always think, you're looking like crap. And it does 100,000 views. And you think, why? You know? What did they get out of that? They didn't get out the other one that we thought was really good. So I just think you've just got to stop giving yourself this hard time, because no one would do anything if they thought like that all the time, would they? Like, someone's going to have a go at me at that. They're going to really go at me for saying this. And you just think, do you know what? Let them. That's all I've got to say about that.
All right.
Okay.
So, like I say, it would be good to hear your feedback, listener out there, your feedback of what you think of this podcast. I'd love it if we could just go out and sit somewhere, go to a cafe or sit like this and just talk and have the noise behind us and just be where we are. And also, on a selfish point of view, I would love to be able to document this personal journey that I'm going through of self-discovery and inner work with you on the podcast, and I would love to be able to do that, but I don't know if this is the place for that, whether I should just save it for my newsletter. I don't know, because I need to have, even if it's just one person say, and that's not me needing reassurance, well, it probably is, but
Yeah.
I just want some guidance, but at the end of the day, I suppose you've just got to do what your heart tells you to do, and just, if it reaches the right people, it reaches the right people. But if you do feel that you have the time to be able to just write 1 or 2 lines, you can do that by sending us an email, Liz@itsadrama or Brian@itsadrama, and just letting us know your thoughts.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Yep.
What now, Brian?
What now?
I'm going to go to that cafe and I'm going to send my very vulnerable email.
Yep.
Because I feel inspired and brave to
What's
do
it
that.
about, that email?
What's it about?
Yep.
It's about how I felt in Paris. Me and Tess had an argument, and it was just the discovery when I was in Paris. It was the realization that this trip is not what I thought it was going to be. This trip is not about us having a jolly around the world for a year going, woohoo, let's all...
Mm-hmm.
It's far more than that. It really is. And I can see it is. I can see it in all of us. Not
Yep.
just me. I can see it in all of us. I can see it in Tess and Sunny. I can see it in you. I can, it's a lot deeper than that. But from a personal point of view, it's about how do I move forward without a mum and dad? How do I move forward when I don't know what where's the reassurance? Where is it? Who am I? Yeah, it's just, yeah, it's about that. And it was about the realization that that's what this trip is about. And yeah, and then I write about an argument that me and Tess had and how that made me feel, and it's just a super vulnerable email.
So just one thing on that point. Who do you think you are?
Oh boy, don't do
No,
this to me.
just one, as in,
Who do I? What do you mean? Who do I?
Well,
I think I'm Liz.
there you go.
That's the right answer.
It's not. Doesn't have to be hard, does it? It's like, who are you? I'm Brian. So's my wife. Yeah, but it's just. I don't know why things are made so complicated these days by people. It's like, who are you? It's just like, you're Liz Deacle. You're actually Liz Penrith. That's who you are to me.
But I know, going back again, and I don't want to go on a tangent, but I know when I say who am I, that's not what the question is actually. It's not who am I. I know who I am. I know very well who I am.
Yeah.
What do you want to give? What is your purpose? That is the question. No, that is it.
Right.
That is it. What are you here for? We're all here for something.
Yeah.
What are you here for?
Do you want to know what you're here for?
What?
Is to reproduce. Is to make children.
Yeah.
Okay, let's just keeping it simple.
Right.
And make the best life you can on the way. I think people these days, giving people, you must have a purpose, you must have a passion, you must have this, you must have that. Who is saying this?
Well, that's where me and you disagree. I disagree. And I don't think you're here to reproduce at all. I think that's crap. Because some people don't want to have babies.
Exactly.
Oh, so then they don't need to, do they? I don't think you're here to, I mean, yes, give life, but give life to what? Give life to just passing it on.
Yeah.
And yes, so I can see what you mean. Maybe that's some deep, meaningful thing of passing it on. But no, I think we're all here for a purpose. I think we're all here. I think we are all given a very, very unique gift. And I think we are here to share that gift.
Yeah.
And I know deep down inside what my gift is, to inspire and relate and connect and bring out and move forward and wrap my arms around people and just love them with, bring them up is what I'm here for. Oh, there you go, I've answered my question. Don't need to do any more podcasts. And what I was doing in that podcast with you on the roof in Athens was not bringing you up, it was keeping you down. And that's what I didn't like. There you go.
Okay.
2 minutes. 2 minutes we could have made this podcast.
Yeah, but that's what you've got to do. Sometimes you have to go through those moments of silence and think, okay. So, and I just think, we can give ourselves so much of a hard time. Like I was trying to say, I know I'm brushing over it, saying, oh, no one's got a purpose, no one's got this, but it's stop giving yourself a hard time about having the purpose that, that's, do you know what? I think sometimes this is my purpose, and then tomorrow, oh no, it's just like, this is the beauty of being a human being, is just being in the moment and just being. And it changes from hour to second to minute to day to year to centuries, if you can live that long. So why wouldn't it? How can you say, what's my favorite song? How the frick do I know? Tomorrow it's that one. Don't play that one again. Come on. Just stop giving yourself a hard time. It's just, people just baffle me with stuff that they come out with these days. Of, you must be this, or you must be that, or you must have this by then. And if you haven't got that by then you're going to need this, or you're going to... just breathe. It's just easier.
Can't I be you?
Be with yourself.
Why can't I be like you?
And be at ease with yourself, and just like, there you go. Do you know?
But who makes you so at ease with yourself? Anyway, should we save that from another podcast?
Good. Anyway.
Yeah. Keep that thought in mind.
Yeah.
How you are so grounded. How you are so self-assured.
Because you don't have the power sometimes to change the world in one sweeping movement. Click your fingers like Thanos. Yeah.
No, it's not that.
Know?
You are, anyway, it's, again, would make another brilliant podcast, but it's not that. You have got some sort of mindset and some sort of inner peace that I want.
Yeah, there you go. How to find the inner peace.
Yeah, well, there you go. Well, it's not just that, though, is it?
Just embrace it and just go, there it is. Instead of thinking...
Yeah, but what about worrying and stressing? And
but that's it. Why? You know what worry...
And
everybody worries. I worry. I worry about money and stuff. I worry about things, but don't let them take over your life. You know? Anyway, I think we should end it there, because I think that's a good time to just pull the pin.
And if you would like us to do another podcast in this format...
Well, you can't hear us because the waves are so noisy.
Do you think there will be?
Oh, that's off that ferry coming in now, you see.
Let us know, please. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for giving me this space this morning.
Yeah.
Thank you to Cliff and Stephanie for inspiring us to make this episode.
Yeah.
And
I'm going to get you Ravenscruff for having to do this.
Please reach out to us. Liz at It's a Drama, and let us know what you think of this episode. I answer every single email that I receive. So do not sit there thinking, oh, she'll never open it, she'll never read it. Every single one I answer. I read thoroughly and answer them. I promise you that. So
as long as it's 6 words long. You're brilliant, Liz.
I cannot say the same for you, Brian. I cannot speak for Brian there.
Yeah, to make it easy, just delete.
Okay.
No, don't do
All
that.
right.
Yes.
Don't forget, my heart beats with yours. It always will. And sending you so much love. Until next time. Speak to you soon.
Yeah. So kia kaha, stay strong. That's mainly in your mind. Kia stay true. And just keep it simple.
Okay.
See you on the next one.
Bye.
Hello.
I think it's just, while you're very excited and you're also scared about what's ahead, and I think that's natural, isn't it?
Uncertainty. That's what it comes down to.
I think that's natural.
Yeah, because you like kind of know what you're doing, but the uncertainty of the beyond that is just. But that's where you just got to go.